So, the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake came out a few weeks ago, and it has just been doing crazy numbers. It's been breaking records and really kind of like solidifying this HD 2D kind of trend that's been going on right now as something that definitely, in my opinion, should not go away. I've unboxed a few games on the channel already. I've talked about them. This won't be a game that I'll really talk about much because, Dragon Quest III has been around for a very long time. It really originally came out, of course, on the NES and Famicom. Then they had a remake, I think it was on the Super Famicom. The game's been around for a while. It's nothing new, but now it is the latest iteration of the HD 2D remasters. But I will say, in this case, I actually kind of feel like it might lead to something bigger. Now, when I say that, I mean in that look at the franchises that have come out so far, right? You've started out with like the Octopath Traveler. They did 1 and they did 2 later. They had the Project Triangle Strategy game. And, they kind of dipped their toes into remakes with the Live Alive, which I talked about on the channel last year as a game that I personally loved. It's a game that we didn't get over here in America. And the fact that I could play it with the cool HD 2D graphics was amazing. But these HD 2D graphics, it seems like Square Enix had slowed down and they weren't going to jump into this kind of market and kind of they were like, oh, we don't want to oversaturate, we don't want to do this, that, and the other. So they really hadn't hit a big game. The game that everyone's always been talking about is oh, you need to do this to Final Fantasy VI or 3 in America, whatever you want to call it. But they're like, that game needs this kind of remaster. And, me being a big fan of 4 or 2 in America, I would love to see that version of the game as well. But once again, Square Enix originally kind of said that they were not going to saturate the market until they, till this happened. So as of recording this video, I believe the game's been out for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, not long. And they've already touted that over 2 million copies have been sold, which is insanity for something like this. But all of that said, I feel like that has a big opportunity to open up the floodgates and really hey, Square Enix, look, this is what people want. This is what people want. You have the engine, you have the assets, you have the teams. Jump in and do this. So that does remain to be seen. But in the meantime, well, what's this video about? Well, like I said, I'm not really going to talk about the game itself. The game itself, it is awesome. It was something that, a lot of people were clamoring for, and of course they're going to do the 1 and 2 version next year. But what I have on the channel today is essentially the collector's edition, which I bought. I've unboxed the Octopath Traveler, like I said, 1 and 2, and the Project Triangle Strategy, and it's cool because those kind of came in a Grimoire edition, not 2, but 1 and Project Triangle Strategy, where it came like a book. It was really neat looking. Well, I say a book. It came in a box that was shaped like a book. And you kind of put it on your shelf. It looks really neat. So they did the same thing with this, and they also sent some other stuff. I didn't know how it was going to come together, but now I kind of get it, because nowadays it seems like Square Enix is really targeting... Well, they're on every console, but when it comes to their special editions and stuff, they're really targeting the Switch, and they're really targeting the PS5, PS4. The problem being that a Switch case is yay big, while a PS, 4 or 5 case is yay big. So you have to make boxes generic and or make it to where the extra stuff comes in its own package and then the game is shipped separate. That's what happened here, and I'm going to open all of it for you today. So without further ado, let's check these out and just see everything that came with it and see if it was worth your time or your money, or if it's something that you think it was worth picking up. So this is how it kind of came in the box. It was a big box that had all 3 major items separated. So I'm going to get the elephant out of the room and just kind of go through this real quick. So one of the big driving items that they had were these little standees, these little acrylic standees. Now, if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, this is going to be my personal bias. I don't like acrylic standees. When it comes to special editions, these are something I really don't care about. Especially because there's so many of, this one specifically, there's so freaking many of them. It's what am I gonna do with these? Where can I set them up at? Yeah, and I just feel like they're cheap. You can go on Temu or Temu, whatever you call it, and they have like acrylic, standees like this tall of like characters from video games, and they're always like $1. I mean, I know Temu's cheap, but I mean, you can just like if they're making profit off of that, you know that this whole thing probably cost 10 cents to make. So yeah, not a fan of these. And that's just my bias. I mean, you might be a huge acrylic standee person, in which case, check it out. Here they are. I mean, it's cool. They're cool. Like, I like the characters and all that. It's just, as an item in a collector's edition, never really something I cared about, which is why I'm bringing that up now, because I'm not going to open these, because, once again, if this is something that I'm not going to... It is kind of heavy, though. I will say that. It is kind of heavy, so I don't think these are, like, cheap and thin. But... like I said, if this isn't going to be something that I'm going to open up and display, then I don't see a point in me opening it up and messing it up. Especially if, one day, God forbid, I need to sell parts of my collection. Stuff sealed obviously does go for more money. And I'm not saying don't unseal your games, because this is a channel dedicated to opening stuff. But I'm not going to do anything with this, so, I'm not going to waste my time or its potential future value by opening it. That said, I do want to check out the other stuff, so let's get to that. We'll start with the easy thing, right? The game. I am 99% sure that there's going to be nothing really fancy about this, i.e. no book, nothing like that. It's just going to be the game that you would buy at the store. If we're taking bets, I'll give you 10 more seconds to put a bet in the comment below. Book or not, what's it going to be? Ew, plastic sticking. And, ooh, nothing. Just like I thought. But you got the game card, and that's cool. Like I say, because the sizing of cases is different, I feel like a lot of companies, and obviously Square Enix included, is doing it to where the game is not in the box anymore, because the whole thing is make it generic so you can, ship one thing easier than multiple things. So, but onto the kind of grimoire portion. Looks like it opens from the bottom. And here we are. Here we go. So, it's a box. Cardboard, hard. It has a little piece of paper with, all your fun facts that are some in English, some in French, and a lot of it, of course, in Japanese. But the box itself looks cool. It has like this gold foil on the front and back. It's kind of light. Open it up. And look at that. It's basically just like a case for your case. But that is neat. I don't know why they didn't put the game in there then. I'm assuming there's a different one. I guess a different insert for the PlayStation version, because obviously this, won't fit anything else. But that's cool. I like this case. That's really neat. So to me, to match the other two HD 2D boxes on my shelf, I think this is really cool, because they did them like books. So this will go in there next to Octopath Traveler, next to Project Triangle Strategy. Oof, mouthful. I swear, these RPGs have crazy names. Have you seen Metaphor? It's like Metaphor, I forgot what the subtext is. It's like Metaphor in Fantasio or some craziness. Project Triangle Strategy. It's always odd, but I think this is really neat. This is a really neat case. I will say that really, the main thing you got here was the book, case, the game, and then those standees. And like I already kind of said, the standees aren't really for me. And it was not very cheap, this collector's edition. So, everyone's going to have their own view on it, but I really did want to, and I guess I didn't need to, but I really did want to support this release, because like I said, I think this is the first big HT Duty release of a major franchise. So like I really wanted to make sure that I was like in there day zero to kind of show Square Enix like, hey, this is important. this is cool, keep making them. So who knows what will come out in the future. But thanks for watching this far, and let's just go ahead and wrap this guy up. So, what did you think? I personally think this stuff was cool. I did, like I said, I'm not really like a huge fan of the acrylic standees, which is why I didn't take these out of the box, because like I feel like I'm just gonna leave them in there, because I'm not gonna put. I mean, there's like 1,000 of them. I'm not gonna put them all over my house. So I feel, me personally, since I'm not going to do that, it's best to leave them in the box. Because it's not something I'm gonna use. But the other stuff, mwah, very cool. But once again, do you guys think it was worth the cost? It was pretty high cost for this setup. So I think this one won't be more like an like a echo chamber. Everyone's like, yeah, it was the best. I mean, I foresee a lot of people saying that it wasn't worth the money. But hey, that's why we have the comment section, right? So anyway, yeah, leave your thoughts down below, because I'm really interested in what you guys think. And hey, that's going to do it for today, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't, please do. It would be phenomenal. But as always, my friends, take it easy.